Thank you, Emily. Thank you, Emily. Yeah, I'm Susan Askew. I'm class of 86 of the college, and I think it's safe to say, on behalf of all the other alums, that we would trade places with your students for 4 more years on the mountain. So we're so excited you guys are here tonight and that you're joining our Sewanee family. Um, I am Associate Vice President for Alumni and Parent Programs. And outside of this orientation, I just wanted to quickly let you know that you will start hearing from our office in a multitude of ways. We have a monthly e-newsletter that you'll get. You'll start receiving invitations to things about Sewanee events in your area. We have Sewanee Club events that you'll get invited to. We're actually planning several send-off events for new and returning students. So I hope one is in a city near you. And also our office organizes Family Weekend. So I'll be, sharing lots of information about that, but I hope that you guys will plan to be here for that. So, like Emily said, we've got a great program tonight, and I think living at Sewanee is such a great topic. Um, I'm going to turn it over to the panelists that are here, and what we have someone from Sewanee Dining, Caroline Thompson, and then we have Grace Godbold, who is in residential life, and so they're going to cover all of the things that we think you want to know, and if not, you can ask a question. But I will let them introduce themselves a little further. But first, let me turn it over to Grace.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Susan and Emily. I'm very excited to talk with everyone today. My name is Grace Godbold. I work as an area coordinator in residential life, and we'll talk a little bit more about my job and the roles of everyone else in my office and how specifically we help your student. So today I've prepared just a little presentation for you guys to hopefully go ahead and answer some of your questions. But again, I'm very excited to sort of get to any that I miss in our Q&A today. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, so as I said, this is sort of covering residential life, what we do. And the first thing I want to talk about with everyone today is just an introduction of our staff. So these are the folks that you're going to be talking to, that are going to be answering your students' issues, answering emails. We do all kinds of things. So currently, the Assistant Director for Residential Education is Anastasia Chacky, and our Interim Operations Coordinator and Administrative Assistant is Becca Yates. I've also included this little snippet right here about residential life and sort of our overall goals, and how that ties very well into the behold how good and joyful a thing it is for kindred to dwell together in unity. I'm not embarrassed to say that I think about that a lot in my role. The next few people that I want to talk about are people in my exact role, which is an area coordinator. The area coordinators oversee different halls on campus. So every single one of your students will have an area coordinator depending on what residence hall they're assigned. So we have Allie Maynard, me, Grace Godbold, Jody Davis, and Nick Savage. And if you know where your student is living, you can go ahead and check out the list I've provided under there, just so you know who to reach out to if you have more specific questions later. So I wanted to talk a little bit about our residence halls at the university. I think a good thing that I like to tell people when, as an introduction to living on campus, um, is that they're all different. Depending on where you live, it has a big impact on just sort of like who you meet and what you get out of your time at Sewanee. And each hall has their own character, and type of community. And I think that's something that we have here that's really, really special. I've included a list of first year residence halls. So if you would like to look at those specifically, if you're not sure where your student lives, quite yet, we will be releasing housing assignments no later than July 19th. So they will know soon. A little bit more about our residence halls. So there's a student staff that the area coordinators supervise. They're called proctors. And if you've ever dropped off another child of yours at college, or if you've heard of an RA before, these serve a very similar role, but they do many things that are specific to Sewanee in order to support students. Primarily, they serve as leaders, helpful resources. They also plan events that your student can go to that are really, really fun, that sort of help them get out of their shell when they first get here. So if you want a little bit more information about the dimensions of a room or sort of like what the average size of a double room is, you can review the residence halls page of our website. So it'll say Ayers Hall. And you can sort of go through that and see more specific information. Um, each hall has its own page, but your student will likely live in one on this list. So I've included sort of a what to do before you arrive list. There are a million different things that your student can do to prepare, but these to me are things that students absolutely should think about before they get here. And any sort of guardians definitely could afford to review it as well. So vehicle and bike registration, not everybody is going to have a vehicle, not everyone is going to have a bike, but if your student does, it is a really good idea to go ahead and get that out of the way so that when they get to campus, they're prepared and they can just start parking in their parking zone. If residential life doesn't have the information you're looking for about parking, that's actually going to be something that our Sewanee Police Department oversees in the near future. So lots of help to be had there. You can review our what to bring list, which I'll click on now. Let's see. So I wanted to show everyone this, and your student will have access to this, but it's got some great information on there. It's just an all-inclusive list of what not to pack, what to pack, advice for, doing their laundry, getting their clothes all together. So it really is a helpful resource for them, and it's one you should review together. Sort of conjointly with the what not to bring, and the what to bring are the residential life policies. They can be very dry, but I do think it's a good idea for all of our students to go through that, especially the electronic equipment restrictions, stuff about kitchen appliances. Our primary concern is their safety and that they're following those guidelines. So being able to review those before you get to campus, it's a great idea. And lastly, your student will need a student ID card to scan into McClurg, to scan into their residence hall. So you can find information about how to do that just by Googling Sewanee student ID card, or there's more information about it on our website. But that's a good thing to have for them to do before they get here as well. So for our incoming students, which I'm going to just jump to this tab right here, this is a really helpful page for anyone who's doing a pre-orientation program. Sort of it has more information about what to bring. So it's a great part of our website to review. And I believe that they're going to drop that in the chat as well. So as I mentioned before, our housing assignments for incoming students will go out no later than July 19th. I know they're so excited. They do get matched with a roommate based on their roommate matching questions. Some ways you can help your student are to make sure that they have appropriate expectations for living with a new person. Expect some discomfort there, some like conversations maybe that they haven't had to have before. um, Give honest answers to roommate matching questions and things of that nature. I think that oftentimes what we see with students is I am really on my best day. I am waking up at 8 a.m. I am going to bed at 10 p.m. I'm drinking enough water, and that's great. But we really need that information about the medium. Where are you at on your most medium day? And that can help us sort of pair them with people who have similar preferences. So setting expectations, giving honest feedback, encouraging your student to reach out to their new roommate once they know who they are. People can be kind of nervous, and for, it respectfully, totally understandable. They should do that reaching out as part of building that relationship. And that's something that it would be great if they had someone to help them do that. They get a little nervous, but they should definitely be talking to each other prior to getting here, which goes into my next point, which is packing strategically. Something that I think it's really great for students to do is to figure out the fun stuff together. So, you bring the microwave and I'll bring the mini fridge. And that can really help them start having those conversations earlier on, and get to know each other a little better prior to moving in. Um, I think that's everything I have for everyone today. I really look forward to speaking with everyone in the Q&A session, and I am gonna pass it on back to Susan.
Great. Thank you so much, Grace, for all that good information. And I think you covered it all, but the dorms are really a very kind of a social place for your student. They're going to make a lot of friends there, and they're all centrally located, the ones that your student will likely be in. So I know we'll take some questions at the end, but be thinking about what you might want to talk about. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Caroline Thompson. You're going to love hearing about all the dining options on campus, and really, I think, get really high marks from the students. That's pretty unique on a college campus, but students love the food offerings here. And Caroline is going to take care of that for us tonight, but she also will take care of your student. And I hope she talks about some of the ways she does some special things like that. So, Caroline?
Yeah. Hi, thanks, Susan. Hi, I'm Caroline Thompson. I'm the Associate Director of Dining at Sewanee. We're really excited about your students coming in, and we love that August time of year. There's a lot happening. We get to meet all of them, so just know that we're already planning for all of that. Here at Sewanee, and Emily, you did this last time for me, so I'm asking you to put up the, yeah, oh, thanks, Emily. So here at Sewanee, it's a pretty simple navigation of the dining plan because there's only one. So every student is automatically on the meal plan. It includes unlimited access to McClurg, which is our dining hall. You'll start hearing them call it Clerg. It is open 7 days a week, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And they can come in and swipe in with their student ID and get a cup of coffee. They can fill up their water bottle. They can, eat multiple meals a day if they want. There's a lot of meetings that happen in McClurg. It's a really social place. And so it's great because you don't have to worry about your student not getting enough food. Um, in addition to that, they also get $175 of flex dollars, is what we call them. They can use that at all of our retail locations and at a lot of the locations in downtown Sewanee. And if you would like to add more money to that, it's called domain dollars. And they can spend that on food and, drinks and things like that, non-alcoholic drinks, and be able to kind of get a coffee at Sterling's or something like that. So you can find this on the sheet that Emily is showing below in the chat, or you can always find all the information on our website, which is dining.sewanee.edu. So to go back to McClurg, McClurg has many different stations. I hope some of you have had a chance to visit, but we hope to see you during orientation too, so that you can take a look at it. We we serve about 3,000 meals a day, but we really try to focus on students first. They are the reason that we are here, and so we tailor the program to them and their needs. We have basic stations like, you can get a sandwich made at the deli. You can, there's like a home style line, home being in multiple homes. So sometimes we do international food and things like that too. We have a vegan line. We have a grill station with lots of burgers and fries and nuggets on certain days. We have a huge salad bar that's open all the time. We have stations with sauces and seasonings and all that kind of stuff. Um, we have a pasta bar. We have a seafood station that's open during the week. And then one thing we have added in the last few years is our allergen-free station, which is free of the big nine. And if you have a student that is has some allergies or some dietary needs, please let us know so that we know what's happening, and we can make sure that we are accommodating the student and that they're getting what they need to, so they can go about their day and do all the fun things that Sewanee has to offer. So there's a link on our website, but you can also see in this flyer that we work with our colleagues in student accessibility services, because sometimes it also impacts, their living situations, um, things like that. So we work so that we're all on the same page. And what will happen is if your student registers with us, we will meet with them. We try to meet with them as soon as they get to campus. So if they're an athlete, we're meeting with them that, when athletes come in. If they are coming in at if they're coming in during, the new student orientation, and we introduce you to our team. We walk them around the dining hall and show them options that they have. We really do go to pretty far, in the past. We have really, like, we've eliminated cinnamon one time because we had an airborne cinnamon allergy. So we try our best to accommodate and have them be able to have a wide variety of foods. But we only can do that if we know who's coming and what's going on. And we really push you to be a support for the student to advocate for themselves. It's a two-way street. So we do our best to show, we label all the food, we tour, answer questions as needed, but it's really the student making the effort to come to us, to meet our staff, and that way there's some comfort and familiarity, and it doesn't feel like an imposition for the student to ask any question like that. This is what we do for a living. We're really excited to have them here. So please encourage your student to register with us if they need it. I'll also kind of move on to our retail locations on campus. So in addition to McClurg, we also run Beal Commons Cafe, which is new. It just opened in January. It's very fun. It's in the Student Commons, and it's right across the street from McClurg and All Saints. And it's this beautiful new space. There's tons of games. There's a cozy fireplace, and we serve boba tea and some other fun drinks. And we also have some shareable appetizers. And we also have build your own bowls, which are really quite fun. I enjoy eating them for lunch a lot. You can have poke, you can have burrito bowls, that sort of thing. Cup and Gown is our library cafe. Very awesome lattes. They have all the yerba mate you could imagine, which is one of our biggest sellers, and lots of snacks and sandwiches and things like that. Sterling's Coffee House is a old Victorian yellow house that is run primarily by students. And so if you need a job, please let us know. Send us an email. We're hiring. We have student workers at all of our locations, and that's how we keep things running. So we would be excited to have you. But Sterling's has sandwiches and coffee, teas, all kinds of salads, freshly baked goods. It's really a good time. The students really own that place, and it's a great gathering spot. We just built a new pavilion out back, which is really exciting. And then the Tiger Bay Pub is our late night venue. It's open Wednesday through Saturday from 8 p.m. until 2 a.m. And they can, go get chicken fingers. We have lots of fried cheese products you can't take one away because someone loves that one the most. So we have a lot of that. But that's a great option if they get hungry after McClurg's closed, right? Sterling's is open till 10 most nights, and Cup and Gown is open till 11 p.m. So we have lots of options for that, and they can use their flex dollars there. What else do I need to cover? We are all university employees, so we are not a contract company. We're not a big company. We read every piece of dining feedback. I answer the dining services at sewanee.edu and send it to whichever of my colleagues it is best to answer it. If your student sends in, like, if they have some kind of recipe from home that they miss, we try our best to make it. And if they send in a request for, like, say, chicken pot pie, and we will tell you, not only will we respond saying, like, yes, we're going to make chicken pot pie tonight, but we'll tell you when we're going to make it so that they can be sure to look for it. So we've realized that that's what they want, the give and take. They want the response from us, and we're real people. So if there's something wrong, we want to know about it, right? If there's something that they would enjoy, we try to bring it in. And so, yeah, we're just excited to have a new group of people. Oh, I will say, yes, thank you, Emily, for the prod. If your child is sick and they are either not feeling well enough to come into the dining hall, but also maybe being kind enough to not spread some germs, you can have them fill out a sick meal request form. So it's not a delivery, but they can go to the front desk or have a friend come and pick it up for them. And then they can fill it up with whatever they want and take it out so that they can get well. We have two soups every day, no matter the weather. So there's always something cozy, and toast, bananas, I don't know, whatever is sick food. We usually have a lot of those. So don't worry about your child not getting fed. The other thing we have is menus. Yeah, she knew. So you can look at all of our menus online here. We update the McClurg menus a couple hours before each meal period, and you can see that we put dietary information on there. We don't publish them ahead of time because we have learned that sometimes we get subbed products that we read every label, is I guess what I'm saying. So that is why we don't publish menus ahead of time right now, because we have realized that it's more important for the allergen information to be correct than have it, a week out. We used to do that, and so things just change. So I think that's all I have. But we're excited to have you guys, and I'm happy to answer any questions too that you may have that I missed. So thanks, Susan.
No, thank you, Caroline. That was really good and helpful information. We have a few questions, and so we're at the point where I'm going to ask the other panelists to chime in to help answer some questions. But Caroline, while we still have you, someone's asking about non-dairy options for yogurt, milk, coffee
Yeah,
creamers, and other non-dairy.
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have all of those things. We non-dairy probiotics. I don't know about that specific one, but we have alt milks they're in a small little refrigerator that's right next to the double kitchen doors. So the other thing I should mention is if your student is having any issues, they can always fill out a form. But if they need some like immediate help, all of our managers wear a purple collared shirt, and they can always stop any of those. They're usually standing right near the stairs in McClurg during peak meal periods. And all of the cashiers, we have walkie talkies. So we we can call a manager if we need it. So if they have trouble locating it. But at our vegan station, we have vegan yogurts, cream cheese, a butter, some kind of dairy-free butter. So there's a lot of options. They make overnight oats that are really good with almond milk and things like that. So
Great. Thank you.
yeah.
Can I ask you a few more? Did you mention
Mm-hmm.
that their meal plan and how that might work with local restaurants?
Yeah. So you can use the $175 a semester at any of the local restaurants. So in all the ones that I mentioned that we run, but also like the Blue Chair and Lunch and Shenanigans, the Sewanee Market, which is a convenience store that has pizza and stuff like that. And they can get ice cream and they have Choco Tacos and important things. And who else? Susan, I'm blanking right now.
I think you got them all.
Yeah. So anyway, they have lots of options for that. The I think is the question that are they discounting? No, they're not discounted, but it's a way for you to give them money that you know that they'll buy food with. So um, perhaps your child, I would probably have spent the money on something else, maybe but if you would, I mean, you don't have to load domain dollars on their account at all. But it's just a way for you to know that they can buy food. They can also use it at the bookstore too. So they could buy a t-shirt, or books or pens or snacks or whatever too. So yeah.
And I know you mentioned the hours, but what about during breaks at the universities on break?
Yeah, so during fall break and Thanksgiving break, we are open abbreviated hours. So what happens is, so many people are not on campus, and so they will. There just aren't that many people, so we scrunch it down. So it's like 7 to 9 a.m. for breakfast and 11 to 1:30 for lunch, 5 to 7 for dinner. I'll send out emails. You can always check our website for hours to those updates. But we are closed Thanksgiving Day. But otherwise, we're open. During winter break, we will close. It's usually the last day of exams, which I don't know off the top of my head, but it's usually like the 14th or 15th of December. And then we will reopen right after the new year, sometime right before the first day of classes. However, Sterling's will always be open. So there is a week that we close between Christmas and New Year's to give our staff a much needed break, but there's always an option on campus that's open.
Great. I'm going to stay on dining for just a few more questions, but there are several for the other parts of living on campus. But what about special occasions, a birthday cupcake or something special?
Yeah. So if your child has a birthday, we're happy to make them a cake or a cupcake. If you email us at catering@sewanee.edu, we can do that. I need to add that to the website. I'm seeing that. I'm seeing that right now. I will do that. We're trying to get an online form activated, but we provide a free cupcake if you would like to do that, or you can purchase bigger cake, or even like a vegan cake or whatever. Thank you, Emily, for putting that down there. And we love to do that. It's really fun, and we feel like a part of their lives and stuff. So
great. Thank you. I'm going to try to answer get some of these residential life questions answered. Are all the beds twin XL?
Yes. So every room comes with standard university furniture, and every bed, unless they have an accommodation for a different bed, is going to be that twin XL, same frame, pretty much same mattress across campus.
Right. And what about things they can bring in their dorm rooms, like refrigerators or microwaves? What is allowed and what might not be?
Good. I think that what I see a lot are people who come in and they're like, I'm going to make this an apartment. So I think that a good way of thinking about it is, if you're bringing a power tool to hang something up on a wall, you probably need to take a step back. But if you have any questions specifically about sort of what is allowed and what isn't, the what to bring is really helpful, but also there are very specific sort of outlines in our res life policies. Some things I see a lot are like full-size refrigerators that someone's parents have very kindly helped them get up 2 flights of stairs. Um, Unapproved beds would be things that like aren't university furniture, but I see that kind of thing a lot. And oftentimes what I see is people saying like, I need this thing and my standard room doesn't have that in it. And I think that gets more into the accommodations side of things. So if you or your student have a question about sort of what to bring or what not to bring, their area coordinator is a really good person to reach out to. And we can handle those like more nuanced questions of like, I have this at home. Could I have this at school, and talk about what that looks like too. But those are just some things I see pretty often, just throughout all of the halls.
Great, thank you. Could you or Emily talk about the drop off and move in? We do have students arriving at different times of, during those first couple of weeks. But specifically, I think free because the student immediately goes somewhere. Can the parents get in and set up, and how does that work?
I can talk just a little bit about the sort of like boundaries for that. So students, parents are considered guests, which fall under our guests policy. Once again, I'm gonna refer people to that so that I don't have to go into the super specifics. But the pre-orientation programs, so pre-FYP, it's highly encouraged that students sort of like pack a suitcase that they can live out of for a little while until they can get that time to say, this is what I'm going to hang up all my pictures, and personalize my room and get every single item of clothing up on my matching hangers. They'll have that moment. But I think with those pre-orientation people, it's a little shocking to say like, oh, I thought I was going to have all the time in the world, but they really jump into those programs right away. For those students who are just like moving right on in on move-in day, there will be ample time to sort of unpack and do everything like that. Just don't prop doors. If a student just sort of needs to go somewhere, go grab a bite to eat, meet them when they're done, coordinate that way so that nobody gets locked out. But officially our policy is that every guest needs to be with their student if they're coming in and out of the halls. But move-in day, if you have a question like that, you can come see us. We will absolutely be around.
So move-ins happen in lots of different ways for new students at Sewanee, which might be, again, different if you've sent a student to college before or have friends who are going other places. So if you are doing any level of early move-in, fall varsity athlete, international student, FYP, pre, you will get direct instructions from that program about move-in. In general, for pre, you drop off in the morning, and the first activity for pre is at 3 p.m., but it moves pretty quickly. So Grace is right about like, you're not going to have enough time to put literally everything on the perfect spot for it, but you will have enough time to drop off, unpack, do all the goodbyes. Similar for FYP, they start a little bit earlier, I think at about 1:30 in the afternoon. So that information will be coming directly from that program. I also saw a question about residence hall renovation, so I just thought I'd mention that. We are renovating 2 residence halls on campus, which means that we have expanded occupancy across all of the buildings that we have. So what does that mean? That means lots of things, but one of the things it means is that we looked at all of our spaces to see, is this room, which is normally a double, does it have enough room to be a triple? And the only reason we would do that is if you could have a wardrobe or closet, bed, desk, dresser for every student in the room. So we're not adding people without their full complement of things. So some rooms used to be a single that are now a double, a handful that were doubles are now triples. So it is possible that a new student could be in a triple. Many of those spaces were actually in upperclassmen areas. So I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but it is possible. We are trying to the best of our ability to make sure that when we're making those decisions that, again, we're prioritizing the student comfort. So we've had multiple staff. Grace actually did some of that looking around to say like, yes, I could have lived here as a student since she's an alum. But we also had some of our experts from facilities who actually literally moved the furniture say, yes, you can fit a bed here. No, you couldn't do it there. So it is possible. There was also a question about bathrooms, which are sort of related. Some of our halls are common bathroom, some are not. Again, every room and every building is a little different. And so that's important to look at the residence hall information once you know which hall you're going to, because even within some of our halls, we've got some setups that are like, well, this hall is a common bath except for this one space. And so that information will be on their housing portal and on our website. If they are in a what we might call suite style, so that could be 2 rooms connected by a bathroom, they will need to provide like shower rug, those kinds of things as well. But if they're in a common bathroom, they won't have to do that. So there are also questions about shipping. So I'll just roll through some of those. Yes, you can ship things early to the post office, and I'll put in, when I'm done talking, I'll put the address in the chat. But anytime you mail something to your student, it's always the same address. You need to make sure that it has their full name. And if they have a common name, like my name is Emily, I would encourage you to be specific. So you might put Emily Britt in whatever hall I'm living in. If your student is an Olivia Smith, there might be another one. So be specific. But our student post office is really good. They're like wonderful. I say that partially because my office is above them, but also because they do a great job. So you can mail boxes of things if you want to in advance to them. That could include a TV if you want to. That was a question. A fridge. Yes, you will be responsible for moving it from the student post office, which is in the lower level of the Bishop's Common, to wherever it's going. So that is important as well. And the regular move-in day, official move-in day, is August 24th, which is the day that orientation starts, and might be a good time, Susan, if you want to talk a little bit about parent orientation.
Yes, that's perfect timing. Yeah, so we are doing some of these orientation sessions ahead of time, but that regular move-in weekend, we will have in-person family orientation. And if your student came for athletics or pre or FYP or one of the early programs, a lot of people do come back for the in-person orientation. That the parents portion would be that Sunday. So if you are bringing your student who's only coming for that, you would come Saturday, August 24th. But we have some programming for Sunday, and it's a great time to meet other parents. There's a reception sponsored by the Parents Council, so you can learn more about that. But it's fun. The Vice Chancellor will say a few words to you, and you'll hear more information than you're hearing here, but also another opportunity to ask questions. So you don't have to come back for it, but you can. And a lot of families do return, even though they've just dropped their kid off 2 weeks ago or a few days before. So it's just up to you. But I wanted you to know that we have that planned for you guys.
Yeah, and students will be doing their kickoff to orientation at the same time. So they will be busy if you want to stick around. And I just put a link in the chat, but the orientation website is orientation.sewanee.edu. It includes the schedule. We include links to these videos that we've recorded, as well as other information from summer orientation. So definitely check that out.
Great. We're still talking about move-in a little bit. You just someone's asking, will you be moving in the same time as your roommate is or roommates are? Grace?
So actually, this is a great question because it's not something I thought to talk about. But it is something we sort of got close to, which is that they should be talking to each other ideally before they get here. So the short answer, no, we don't tell people and give them time slots for when they're supposed to be here. But for instance, as Emily mentioned, my very first year, my roommate Elizabeth and I sort of decided, my drive is 6 hours, your drive is 8 hours. And we just worked out, I'd probably get there a little bit earlier. And worked that out in a way that felt fair to both of us. So I think that that'll be one of the very first one of those conversations they have. but yeah, it shouldn't work out to where you're both moving in on top of each other. But if that is the case, potentially saying like, we're just gonna put stuff right here in the room and come back. But it's really important that you encourage your student to have those conversations beforehand so they already know each other and aren't meeting for the first time as they're putting their beds together.
Great. Thank you for that, Grace. And here's a question that I could probably guess about, but Emily, do you know what portion of students bring a vehicle as a first year?
I was looking at that question. I was like, that is a great question that I don't know. I would say many bring a car. Transportation in and around the domain is limited. So many students bring a car, not all. You do have to register your vehicle. I will tell you that I sometimes field questions about why does my student have so many parking tickets? It's likely because they didn't register their vehicle, and that's a $50 ticket. So make sure they do that. There's plenty of parking, though your student may not be able to park literally right at the door to their residence hall. They may have to park a little bit further away, but certainly much within walking distance, as most things on the domain are. So many, not all.
I
And
have, oh,
and bicycles. I'm
Mm.
just
Yes,
uh
bring and register your
it's
bike.
I even sometimes ride my bike around campus because I have to be a lot of places. So it's very pleasant. Susan walks around campus all the time too. She lives nearby, so
Okay, anything about the beds you could tell us except for the XL, like how tall are they? Can they be raised?
Mhm.
Things like that.
so happy to talk about the university furniture. I feel like I know so much about it at this point. So yes, there is a way to raise them. Something I recommend bringing with you, if that is your plan, is to use either the bed raisers, the like 4 or like 8-inch ones work out really well. They make some with like a plug that goes in the side. If your student's like, I know I'm going to have my phone charging and my laptop charging. So those are highly convenient if you don't want to like take the bed apart. It's not super hard. I do recommend bringing like a rubber mallet with you so that you don't either break the furniture or break the thing you're taking apart the furniture with. And again, if you need assistance with that, that would definitely be something to reach out beforehand, and say like, hey, we're interested in this. And we can get a little bit more into the specifics, but you can bunk most of the beds as well. Um, Not all of them have the ability to do that, but you know, if your student comes to me and says like, me and my roommate really want to bunk our beds, there is just no reason why we wouldn't be able to help them do that. So, hopefully that means that they'll be able to decorate and be comfortable to their heart's content. But there are a lot of different sort of options. You can have a lot of people break down their dressers. So in the rooms, something that may not be like standard other places or dressers that you can split into 2 separate drawers. So a lot of people have them pushed under their bed to make more storage space or to put something like cuter in the big open area where their 4 dressers would go. So there's a lot of leeway with how they want to use that space.
But Grace, it's fair to say that you can bunk the beds and you can raise them, but you can't loft them.
No, lofting the beds is just not really an option. Our ceilings are all different heights. Y'all don't want to do that. And again, that's sort of like a, does this require a power tool question? And definitely, definitely.
Yeah, so our standard beds aren't as tall enough to lift it all the way up to put everything underneath it and sort of live under it. That is not how they're set up, but they do bunk and they do adjust, raise and lower, as well.
On the highest one, you could probably sit up under the bed, but you couldn't like put a chair under there or anything.
Mhm.
Great. Looks like we have one more about move-in and the open window of the time to do that.
Yeah, check-in for the most part on move-ins will start between 8:30 and 9 a.m. And then it will depend on what activity your student is involved in as to when do you need to be done. So for those who are moving in on the 24th, sort of the start of orientation or regular move-in, there is a there's a check-in between 11:30 and 1:30 when we're also giving you lunch in McClurg, and then that first activity for everybody starts at 2:30. And then again, pre-FYP athletes, international students are all going to have different activities going on. So again, double check that instruction for what's going on. and to clarify what Grace was saying about raise the bed, the beds, the like part of the mattress goes on, locks in with teeth into the end head and footboard of the bed. They pop off and pop back in. So you don't need special tools, but to her point, a rubber mallet is sometimes helpful to like make sure that it's locked back in correctly or to pop it back out. But our staff has some training in that. If there's a big issue, we can get our FM team to come in, again, our furniture guys to come and help, but they do sort of lock in that way so that
And there are different lock-in places to go up or
yes,
down. Okay.
correct. Sort of like my dog's dog crate, basically, is how I would do it. And then
And they move into the room they'll stay in, right?
yes,
For FYP or pre.
yeah, the only time that a student wouldn't move into their permanent room is if there's a maintenance issue in their permanent room that we can't get resolved before their move-in time. And so again, not saying it never happens, but it would be like something is broken that is preventing move-in as well.
I love this one. Do the students clean their own bathrooms?
Could I rapid fire answer some of these
Yes.
great
Yes.
questions in the chat? So I'll start from the bottom and work my way up. So students do not have to clean their own bathrooms. Bring some Clorox wipes for those unexpected spills and whatnot. But we do have a custodial staff for each building. Your student will absolutely know who their custodial staff is by the end of the year, by Christmas even. So if your kid has a suite style bathroom, so a room, a bathroom, and a room that are connected by 2 doors, that's going to get cleaned about once a week. And then the other sort of residence halls that have hallway bathrooms, and it's always going to be like gender wise sort of close to where they're living, either on the same floor just down the hall or right across from their room, either way. Those are cleaned once a week as well. Custodial does provide things like vacuum cleaners for each hall. Sometimes the vacuum cleaner will go missing for like a week and someone will send a message in the hall group me that says, "Where is it?" But it is all provided. And if there's some sort of like special cleaning equipment needed, like I said, those custodians are psyched to connect your students with whatever resources are possible and get them whatever spray they need to get to clean up the mess that is present. Custodial does not do things like cleaning up vomit or other sort of like grody, nasty stuff. I won't get into the specifics of that, but they sort of do have their boundaries of what they're not going to clean. They take out the trash, they clean the sink, they clean the shower, and they're reporting anything that they're noticing that's broken as well. So support animals are something that we do allow here in our halls at Sewanee. We refer to them as emotional support animals. And to make sure that I don't sort of overstep on the residential life side of things, if your student does have a support animal, what they'll need to do is register that as an accommodation. And then that way SAS talks to us and says like, "Hey, just so you know, there's a sweet little kitty cat in this room." And it's also great to know that reptilians, fish, anything that breathes is considered an animal. Everything down to a little moss ball is what I like to say. But absolutely that is approved. And then the question about AC units. So long or short answer, most of our residence halls have air conditioning. The 2 that we are remodeling, I believe were our last 2 without air conditioning. Cleveland. Yes, Cleveland. I will say though about Cleveland, it is very easy to open the windows. It is a very bright hall. So even our one without AC, generally people don't really have struggles with that. It is not advisable to bring your own window unit. However, if there is an accommodation that your child absolutely has to have AC, that is something that they can have. So it's not a no, it's just to make sure you're going about that the right way. Don't bring the AC unit with you. We have our own system worked out for that, so no worries there.
And a lot of people bring fans, and it's
Yes.
really only for a couple weeks where you might feel like you needed AC.
It really is. I think that most of those people are bringing the fans too because of the humidity. So, it really doesn't get that hot, but I understand that not everybody's not me. So, absolutely, if a fan is a great idea, if you're not doing that.
Mentioned accommodations, so I just want to pop back very quickly to the emotional support animal piece. They are required to be registered before they come to campus, registered and approved. So if they've been approved, but they haven't turned in their veterinary paperwork, all of that, sweet kitty cat or whatever it is cannot come. And so make sure that you've got that all clear with SAS before the animal comes, so that we have everything we need. And a lot of that is for the safety of the animal, so that we make sure that we've given it the appropriate tags and that the fire department knows that it's there, in case of evacuation, all of that. So we just want to make sure that all of our I's are dotted and T's are crossed before we bring it with us. Grace, do you want to talk about the storage options, because we have that deal with Music City Storage?
Yes, so this should be information that is on our website soon. It's a brand new thing that Sewanee is doing. So Magic City Storage is a storage company that assists students with sort of holding on to things over those breaks. So our international students use it a lot. But a lot of people will go in with like all of the people in their suite and say, we're going to put all of our mini fridges in here and our TV and our microwave. So I know that there are storage units sort of within the radius, but specifically, I don't have a link, Emily, okay. Emily's going to drop a link to that in the chat, and then that will be something that more information comes out about, likely closer to when your student gets here. They'll receive some sort of communication that says, hey, if you need this thing over this break, here's how you go about doing that. Residential life, as in our department, doesn't hold items for students because there's really no way for us to stay accountable for them for those long breaks and things. But it's important to remember that your student doesn't have to fully move out of their space, but once a year, and that is summer. They can leave their room just like it is, hopefully clean, over the winter break, and be just fine. So hopefully that helps answer that question. Emily might have more to add.
Those were the things I was going to say.
Great. What about food delivery to the dorms, like groceries or snacks through Instacart? Caroline, is that you or?
Well, I'm gonna hopefully add. I've never ordered Instacart in Sewanee, and I don't know. Is that possible? Do you guys know?
And
Yes.
Walmart is starting to deliver.
Oh, yay. Okay.
I
It's
know
like a brand new.
Grace?
Kroger does through
Okay.
Instacart, but maybe some others?
Yeah, forgive me, but but we also have, like, the bookstore has quite a selection of you know, like ramen noodles, snacks, drinks, that sort of thing. The Sewanee Market, which is a convenience store, it's also on they can use their domain or Flex Dollars on, and it's within walking distance in town, or a quick bike ride. And they have a variety of things, and, like, kind of toiletry stuff too. Even a lot of our, like, Sterling's has Ben and Jerry's and Jenny's ice cream pints that you can buy, and things like that. Cup and Gown has some pour over noodles and things like that. And the Pig is not far, and it would probably be a fun new roommate or friend adventure to go together to the Pig and get some pig swag. And it's the Piggly Wiggly. I just realized I should probably say, but that's what we all call it. So there's a variety of foods in there. Mooney's is also it's actually closer than the Pig, and it has all kinds of fun snacks and some alternative flours and all kinds of fun juices and things like that. So
Thank you, Caroline.
sorry.
Yes. Yes. Grace, I know you said there's a map of the dorms with some generalities on what is in each of them, but is there a way to answer this question about the size of the desk and if there are shelves also?
So each room is going to come with the same size desk. I'm not sure what the dimensions of the desk are off the top of my head. But if you go online and sort of like see a photo of a room, the desk that is in there is the desk that your student will have. It generally comes with 2 drawers, a chair, and then there's also each student is assigned like 4 drawers and then a closet sort of situation. And then additionally a bedside table with 2 extra drawers. Um, to go back to the question about food in the residence halls, each hall does have a drink machine. So if your student is staying up late studying and they want a Diet Coke and they have 4 quarters, absolutely. But if they go to events around campus, there are so many goodies that they can pick up. Their little cookies, their bags of chips, their walking tacos. There are a million opportunities, especially when they first get here, to go to an event and like grab a little muffin. Their proctors also regularly have big sort of family style dinners in the hall in place of, in order to feed people so they don't have to, if they don't feel like going to clerk that night, clerk is brought to them. So there is a little leeway there as well.
Grace, speaking of quarters, do you want to talk about laundry?
I was just thinking that, yes. So laundry is free at Sewanee. So even though some of our washer dryers might have that little quarter slot on them, it is not necessary to start the machine. It is all considered free and part of housing. So you don't need to send your student with a bunch of quarters unless you just really want them to have that many drinks at their disposal. Another good thing to think about laundry wise is to use either, well, I guess just to not use Tide Pods or a different sort of pod. What happens in front load machines, or really any of our machines, is that they sort of disintegrate in the drum part. It doesn't work very well. Clothes don't get clean and things start to get messy and stinky. So liquid detergent all the way. And I'm happy to get a chance to advocate for that today. But if you're sort of doing a laundry packing list, the laundry rooms in each hall are pretty standard. There are 4 washers, 4 dryers, or however many for those residents. It's good to have like a laundry caddy that they take with them. Sometimes if you're in Ayers Hall and you're on the 3rd floor, you don't want to carry your detergent and your bleach and your dryer sheets. So sort of helping them organize in that way is good. Big laundry basket or 2, just to catch everything that's fallen on the floor, but definitely not the Tide Pods.
Great, thank you. Well, we're approaching our time for tonight, and I just wanted to ask the panelists if there's quickly like the most main tip you would give as they're preparing their student to come live at Sewanee, what you might recommend. Caroline?
Okay. I think the biggest thing is to empower them to reach out to the people who are doing, or like, instead of complaining to each other or maybe complaining to you, we care. We want them to have a great experience. So having them reach out to us when some things awry, or that there's something broken in their room, or something wasn't good in the dining hall, or whatever it be, they can't get into a class they want. There are so many people here at Sewanee that really care and want them to succeed and want them to have what they need. But it's when it comes from them, it's even better. So that's what I would encourage you to help your student advocate for themselves.
Emily?
Sort of piggybacking off of Caroline, I think one of the things that parents and family members can do with their student that is the most helpful is helping them practice those conversations. Many of your students have never shared a room with someone. I hadn't shared a room with someone until I went to college. And one of the things that I found really helpful from my own parents and that I try to do with students when they come talk to me about issues is I'm like, okay, let's practice. Like, you're mad at your roommate about a thing. Let's practice that conversation. Like, what are your talking points instead of just like, I hate this and I hate you, right? Like, that's not helpful. That's the like vent, get it out, but helping them be like, okay, so what are the things that you're going to say? What are the questions you need to ask? Because having that person to practice with helps boost their confidence and their ability to advocate for themselves and come to us and be like, hey, this isn't working in my room, and here's what I think I need help to do about it. That is awesome. I can tell when a student has had a prep conversation because we get to the solution so much more quickly. And it's okay. I'm here to help practice it. As associate dean, again, I get to do lots of things, and lots of that is helping students practice conversations with other people that are difficult, but that's a great thing. So that's my tip for parents and family members, is be the practice person.
Great. And Grace, if you'll unmute and give your one tip, but also, okay, Emily's going to verify that question about Excel twins, but Grace, go ahead.
And to detergent sheets or soap sheets, I'm actually unsure, but don't recommend experimenting is my sage advice to you. I think that my advice to parents, to your students is that you've gotten them this far and they could not be here and be coming to us, to succeed at Sewanee if you had not helped them succeed to this point. So thank you. And that any encouragement you can give them to trust themselves and to know that it is totally fine not to do everything exactly right the first time. We are a small campus, we are small departments. They're not talking to some faceless human. When they need help, they're talking to someone like one of us today. So definitely echoing what everyone said about reaching out, but also just sort of empowering them as much as possible to like own it and know that they are totally prepared to start at Sewanee.
Well, great. Fantastic. Well, thank you all for being here, and thanks for all the families who've tuned in. We have another one coming up pretty soon. But speaking about reaching out, I want you all to know that the Alumni of Parent Programs is here, and now maybe you can feel like you have someone you can reach out to in addition to these other panelists. But we're in the McGriff Alumni House when you get onto campus. I hope you'll stop by. But our next Zoom information session is July 10th, and it is all about the well-being of your student. And we'll explain how our Wellness Commons works, all the fitness and outing program things that happen. But also, I think people always have a lot of questions about the local hospital and how that integrates with the university. So I hope you'll plan to join us for that one too. All right. Well, we will see you all next time.
Yes, thanks, Suzanne. I just dropped that registration link for the wellness webinar in the chat, and we'll see you then.
Great. Thank you.